Okay, you can start the recording now.
I already did.
Is this all going in?
It doesn't have to. I mean, it'd be kind of crazy for it to.
Okay. Welcome back to the No Niche Podcast, your home of nothing in particular. My name is Gus, and I'm joined by...
Houston.
So go ahead and take a seat, sit on down, and listen to us ramble about nothing in particular. And while you're there, make sure to leave us a like, an upvote, or a good rating on whatever your listening platform is, whether that's Spotify, Apple Music, or YouTube. We appreciate you. Today's topic is movies you haven't heard about.
You haven't heard of these.
So, the way that we're doing this is a two-part series. Number one is Houston's favorite movies that literally no one has heard about.
Ever.
We're talking about foreign films, weird Italian melodramas. That might not be on the list, but will be in mine.
That's right. There's one on mine.
Okay, perfect.
Melodrama is kind of a strong word.
Slice of life, and even French.
Yep.
Ew.
Yeah, ugh. Who likes French people? Sorry, guys. Hot take.
So go ahead, take a little bit of time out of your day to learn about some weird movies.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so how this works is I got a top 10 list, basically. I did actually rank mine because I felt silly, and I had time before Gus got here. And there were people in here actually making a podcast. I don't think you're supposed to do that, but I mean, they can do whatever they want. So I got, it's all ordered. So I'm just going to start at number 10. Actually, I'm going to start with honorable mentions. There are none because there are no good movies other than these. So.
All right. And so I just want you to introduce your movies, and I'm going to have some questions for you about why.
Just why in general?
Yeah, just
That's
why.
Fair. Okay,
yeah,
I can do that. All right, so my first one is kind of complicated because it's released as Exposed, a 2016 movie, but the director's cut, which is called Daughter of God, is the one I'm talking about because that cut has basically never been released anywhere except for on the director's Instagram page in the form of a Google Drive link, and it's incredible.
Okay, so when was it released? Who released it? Give us the details.
Okay, so it was released in 2016. I'm not sure when the director's cut was made, but it was, pretty much the same time. The director's cut is actually more or less just like an assembly cut, so there's still like a time code in the bottom because I think he just took it right from the dailies or whatever. I'm not sure what studio released it, but it's a G. Malik Linton movie. Looks like it's like a Lionsgate, but also 3 other production studios that I don't know that well. But basically, he made this cut, the director's cut, and then the studio was like, absolutely not. This is going to be completely different. We're going to change who the main character is. We're going to change everything about it. And it's not going to be even close to the same movie anymore. I've never actually seen the original, but that's just what I've heard. Basically, it's got Keanu Reeves and Ana de Armas. In the director's cut, Ana de Armas is the main lead. In the released version, she's basically a side character, which is crazy.
That is really big names to start the list, actually.
Yeah, no, it's not a big movie. It was very critically panned because it's terrible in the original version, but the director's cut is what I'm talking about, so it counts.
But you say it is a good movie.
The original, I'm not sure. The director's cut is incredible. Yeah.
Okay. And so, what is it about?
It is about Ana de Armas, and she has a weird kind of interaction with spiritual stuff, and she kind of goes through this crime investigation while talking about it and kind of experiencing that more than. See, I watched this a while ago. I don't remember exactly, but I think she's interviewed by Keanu Reeves, and then she kind of goes about her life experiencing more stuff. And Keanu Reeves is a main character, but he's more like the secondary main character. But he's really good in it too. And it's got a lot of wild themes and stuff like that.
This feels like a very approachable movie for
It's
our audience.
it's not that weird. I mean, it is, but it's a great movie. It's just nobody's really seen it because it's not available anywhere at all.
These are actors and actresses that you have heard of.
Mm-hmm.
It's in English, and
Mhm.
that's a big sticking point I've heard from people.
Yeah.
Whenever you're getting into the weird films, that like people are like, well, I just don't want to watch anything in Italian, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, good news for them. Most Italian movies before like 1990 are not in Italian, so that's a good.
That's a hack for you.
Yeah, it's the link still on his Instagram. It's G Malik Linton. I'm pretty sure that's just it on Instagram, and it says download, and you just click on the link below it, and then there it is. You just can watch it.
So is this a thriller?
Yeah, it's like a crime thriller kind of. It's not that thrilling. I mean, it is. It's a great movie, but it's more of a drama. It's
Walk me through like your favorite scene.
there's a scene where Ana de Armas is in a restaurant and she is like having a meal, I think, alone, and then she sees this like ghost like figure, and it's really moving, and I don't remember exactly why. I watched this like 4 years ago. I'm sorry. I mostly just wanted to put this on here so more people can actually know about it. But it's got some just amazing, like, it's very rough. It's a rough edit because it's not finished, but the effects that are done are very good and interesting. And even the effects that aren't finished kind of give it a more rugged and kind of feelings vibe, you know?
Yeah.
They add to the surrealism of the nature of what's going on.
It is funny how much more you can get away with like a shaky cam or like a rough edit, because just having that time code at the bottom is like, that's so real as an audience member.
It makes it feel like it's so much, more like in you, I guess.
I'm sorry, I just can't with the.
My microphone is.
You are looking at me through your microphone.
It's tough. We figured out that you're actually supposed to talk into the side of these microphones, not the front, for some reason. But the way that these are mounted makes it so I have to have the microphone cord sticking right in front of my eyes.
See, you're looking at me, and I figured it out. See how it's like
I'd have to
out
completely
of my
rework
face?
Hold on, I can fix it, but it would have to.
No,
be a
no.
whole operation. No, I don't have to fix it. Whatever. Who needs fixing?
I think it's perfect as it is.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that.
So, read off that name one more time.
Okay, so it's called Exposed 2016, but it's actually called Daughter of God 2016. That's the real version that matters, that anyone cares about.
Daughter of God 2016. That's a
Yes.
good place for you to start approaching what we're going to be talking about here, guys.
Absolutely. That's probably the most accessible thing on
That
this list.
is so much more accessible than I thought Houston was going to go.
Don't worry. The next one is insane.
Okay. You said 2016. I was like, wow.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so the next, I'm going to just go into the next one.
Yeah.
La Commune, Paris, 1871, 2000.
I'm going to stop you right there.
Okay.
I've heard of this one.
You have? Oh, rats. Have you seen it, though?
If I did, I don't remember
Oh.
watching it.
I doubt you have. You would remember if you'd have seen it. How have you heard of it? I'm just curious. I would understand if it's like.
I have this really weird friend named Houston.
I have not told you about this, have I?
For some reason, I remember it was either you talked to me about it or Cameron talked to me about it.
Cameron, I would be shocked if he'd heard of this. No offense to Cameron, but this is okay. Let me just go through some of the little facts about it. It's French. It's about basically reconstruction of the one of the revolutions in France, told through like a news format. So it's like a broadcast news station in 1871 playing through what would happen, like pretty much real time in the French Revolution. It is 5.5 hours long, and it is
Good Lord.
it is all on YouTube for free, and it's pretty fantastic. If you're willing to sit through a fully French political drama, it is extremely engaging, and I would highly recommend it.
Okay, so 5 hours.
Yeah, 5 hours 45 minutes to be specific.
And it's an exposure piece.
Yeah, kind of. What do you mean?
Like, it's just try and give you, like, what it was like at the time.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's
like, it's exposing you to the culture.
sure. It's like it's told through these 2 or 3 broadcaster interview people who just go around walking around this like city, this giant set they built for this, and interviewing basically civilians and soldiers, and just like getting all like the viewpoints and ideas and ideals of all these people. And I'm pretty sure the revolution was not successful, so it's kind of like a tragedy in that way. I'm not actually certain about that, but it is pretty great because you can see these people like having their real concerns, and then just see everyone else disagreeing.
Yeah. So 5 hours is a long time to read subtitles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is.
On a scale from 1 to you should speak French, where should a viewer be?
See, now there are a lot of words in this movie because it's basically just people asking people questions and them talking about it.
Yeah.
So if you can speak French, that would be a huge bonus. But it's not like the visuals are extremely important. It's a lot of long takes because it's, in the broadcast news format. So it's like somebody's just holding a camera walking around.
Yeah.
So if you don't catch all the visuals, it's not like you're going to miss something. But it probably would work pretty well as just like a book. Like if someone wrote it all, took all the subtitles and you just read them out, I don't think it would work that badly. But it is a very well shot film. So it's all in black and white too, though. So this is probably one of the least accessible ones on this list. I just thought I'd go back to back with those two.
Yeah. That is from subject matter to accessibility, that is truly quite grating on the American audience.
Yeah, it's a lot of French politics, and French people are very known for their political beliefs. So it is extremely interesting for an American viewer, I think, because you can like get a whole new sense of like a different political stance and party. Because I think they're trying to make it's all peasants who are revolting, so they're kind of trying to make it more friendly to them, and it is a very interesting like view into that kind of lifestyle.
And so, because it's 5 hours, is it a movie that you can walk away from, come back to?
I'm pretty sure it took me like 3 days to watch the whole thing.
Okay.
So it's not you're not gonna be lost if you walk away from it midway through. It is pretty. I think it's pretty. Yeah, I didn't lose anything from my. I think I maybe watched it in 2 days, but it was really good anyway. Yeah. You don't really need to spend 6 hours straight watching it. They do talk kind of fast though, so you're gonna have to pay attention the whole time you're watching. So, if you're willing to set aside like 6 hours over a couple days to watch this, highly recommend it. It's on YouTube.
Of active viewing, though.
Of active viewing, yeah.
Okay. Link is going to be down the description to all of these that we can find.
These, yeah, there are a couple other ones that you can find on YouTube. So
yeah, link to this one will be on YouTube. We might try to link the Instagram.
I can link the actual Google Drive link because he's got a link to it.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll link the ones that we can. Some of these might even be lost.
No, I mean not.
You didn't do any lost media?
Well, how would I do that? I haven't been around that long. Everything I've seen that is on this list is in the last like 5 years. So you can definitely find all of this. It just might be a bit trivial, whether you can find it illegally. Because
we will not be putting illegal links.
Yeah, I don't know where you can watch a couple of these besides strange methods, I'll say.
Yeah. And that's really just getting into the weeds with like movies that aren't tent poles, basically.
Yeah, basically, most foreign movies you're going to have trouble finding legally.
Yeah. Especially if they're like a bundle movie where like just in the film space, like a film studio might make like one movie that's aimed at the general audience, and then the director is also like, but in my contract I get to like have full creative freedom over this. Think
Yeah.
Beau is Afraid.
The one for me, one for them kind of thing. One
Yeah.
for them, one for me.
And then those will just get bundled in to these contracts, and finding those bundled deals, which are the best movies.
The tentpoles are rarely the best ones.
Yeah, tentpoles are
It really-
hogwash.
There are good ones, but it's
Yeah, like Jaws is good, but
yeah.
Indiana Jones is good, but like,
Indiana Jones, I'm pretty sure, was basically the Spielberg project through and through. Spielberg and Lucas, at least. I'm thinking like Twisters, like that kind of thing. Like Twisters was one of my favorite movies of last year, but it's, you know, a big blockbuster. So there can definitely be good ones. It's just not more rare, but they're rarely as interesting as these movies that are made for less money or for like people's interests instead of just the studio being like, this will make money, let's make this.
there's a lot more of a reward to going and finding.
Oh yeah, because like then you can make a list like this where it's like you've seen all these movies now, and now you can recommend, hey, here's a strange movie you've never heard of, which I guess Gus has heard of this one, but
Yeah.
whatever.
Imagine going up to your friend and trying to like say, "There's this great movie you should see. It's called Avengers."
Yeah, it's hard to recommend people interesting things when you've only seen the things they've seen. So you got to go out of your comfort zone, go watch whatever you can that is interesting, go explore. Don't just watch, oh, I like rom-coms, I'm going to watch 500 rom-coms. I mean, you can do that, but that's not, you're not going to find new things you
Yeah.
like, you know, you should try at least 1 or 2 movies of every genre, I think, just to, you know, explore, find what you like. And watch foreign films. They're amazing, just as good or better than American movies.
Foreign films are really cool, especially if they have like a traditional, like within their country, if they have a traditional medium or like traditional styles.
Yeah, like
those
Japanese
are really
movies are
cool.
Extremely interesting.
Yeah. Italian films with like their long takes.
And Italian movies, I think this is actually something people get stuck on, is that they're all dubbed before like the 1990s because they never filmed with sound. So
Yes.
like half of the Italian movies you'll watch are going to be in English, but it's going to be extremely obvious that's not what the actors were singing. or
Yeah,
saying.
that, like, when we say that they are dubbed, we don't mean how modern movies are dubbed in that they were filmed in, like, Japanese and then someone in English took it. We mean that the director intentionally, I can turn this down a little bit, that the director intentionally shot it with no audio, then had the actors or someone else read over the lines. So there is not a single version where it's not dubbed.
Yeah, if you want to watch the original audio, it's impossible. Like literally impossible.
There is
unless you have
no
a time machine.
original audio.
The fun thing is, because of this, they didn't have to get people who could all speak Italian or any language. So actors would be speaking different languages, the same lines in different languages, and they wouldn't understand what each other were saying. They would have to just like say their lines after they finish saying the line. It's really fun.
Yeah.
I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood goes into that a little bit, but it's just a crazy history, Italian movies.
And some of them you would think like, oh, if they did only dubbing, surely they got good at it.
Well, it's expensive to pay good voice actors.
It's expensive to pay a good voice actor. It's really expensive to pay a good editor that can go by frame audio to moving lips.
Well, that's, yeah, back then, especially with like film, that's impossible.
So yeah, no,
Yeah.
they didn't care.
It's real. Yeah, the sound is kind of, I mean, it's often incredible because they had complete control over what it sounds like, but it is hit or miss, definitely.
It's hard.
I mean, really, it's as hit or miss as any movie. Like, audio is difficult.
Yeah, it's just difficult to get into, but it can be really cool.
Yeah. So if you're looking for foreign movies that don't have subtitles, I would recommend Italian movies.
Yeah. There you
Dario Argento has a lot of amazing horror movies.
That's true.
Very not low underground, but it's the best getting into a point.
Yeah.
Lucio Fulci also is a great one.
Yeah.
I don't know many Italian non-horror directors, I'll be honest. Actually, I do. But I'll get into that in my sixth one.
All right, let's keep the list rolling.
Okay. 8. This one's American. Cop, 1988, I think. It's a James Woods movie where he plays the most despicable cop ever, and he's incredible. I love James Woods, even though he's the worst person ever. Yeah. Do you want to ask me a question, or are you eating right now? I'll go into it a little more. Okay, so it's about a cop trying to figure out the case of a serial killer, and he's like talking to all these people, and he's just being a scumbag, and he has to talk to like a lot of women, and he's really annoying. But it's not just him being evil. He's also like a good cop at being a cop. But I don't know how to describe it. It's a great movie. It's very procedural. It's very gritty.
Is he perceived by the film?
Oh yeah, he's a scumbag. The film knows he's a scumbag. It's not like it's like, oh, he's a good guy though. Like he's extremely known as the bad guy.
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
good because unfortunately, with a lot of old films, you can see them like,
that's just a man being a man.
he has to do it.
It's a dirty job, but someone's got to do it. You know,
Yeah.
Dirty Harry. I've not seen, but I hear that's pretty much what it is.
Someone has to say that to the female character.
It's just got to be this guy, I guess. It doesn't matter. But yeah, it's a great movie.
Yeah. So, when did you say it came out?
1988. It's
88.
I think it was right in kind of the James Woods heyday.
And it's color.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
This is like 5 years after Videodrome, so he's a big actor in a big role, but it's not a very well-known movie for some reason. I'm not sure why. I think just because it's so gritty that like general audiences were like, this is just gross. I don't want to watch this.
Yeah. Golden era Hollywood, you're not really gonna. Well, latter Golden era Hollywood, but
I'm pretty sure this is a pretty low-budget movie. It's not like a blockbuster by any means.
So procedural cop drama
Mhm.
where everyone is evil.
Mostly the main guy, and I guess a serial killer. Everyone else is pretty, like, I mean, they're all like flawed characters. It's a very gritty movie, but it's got some of the most scummy characters.
So think of Saw
Uh,
without all the Saw things.
not that far off. Yeah, if
Yeah.
it's just like he's walking into the saw trap and being like, oh, this is what like the parts where the cops walk in and see, this is
all the cop parts of
yeah.
Saw.
If you just cut out everything else, it's gonna be like pretty similar to this.
Everyone's favorite parts of the Saw movies, the cop parts.
Oh yeah, it's so good.
So go and watch that
Yeah,
if you like the.
this is one I'm not sure is easy to find. Oh, it's on Amazon Prime, is it? Oh, on Tubi also. Watch it on Tubi. Tubi's an amazing platform.
Is it?
Yes.
I haven't even tried it.
It's got so many like small indie movies, and it's all free because they use ads. But I'm pretty sure you can get around that with ad blockers pretty well. But you know, you don't have to do that because if you don't, then Tubi gets money for it. Tubi's really good though. It's some subsidiary of some company that they just are like, all our stuff we just have, we'll throw it on there, as well as like a ton of other stuff they just get in these bundles that are like tiny movies. So it'll have like 50,000 shark movies, but also all these like Italian dramas and stuff like that. So that's kind of the place to watch old movies now because Netflix has nothing and Amazon Prime only has stuff that
Paramount Plus.
Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
HBO Max is also good for that, but Tubi's free, so recommend that one.
Yeah. Paramount Plus is one of those ones that are like, who is really paying for Paramount Plus? Just because, you know.
There is a free version, right? Or is that Peacock?
That's Peacock.
Okay. I don't even know what Peacock has anymore. Nothing has anything. It's all gone.
Yeah. It's all so split.
Yeah.
This is the first time in my life, and probably only time in my life, that I would say, bring back the monopoly of Netflix.
Yeah.
That was a good monopoly.
We had a good time back then. I mean, it wasn't making any money, but
Wasn't making any money, and there was only one subscription that you had to buy. It was $8.
Yep.
And it was either there or it wasn't.
If it's not there, it's nowhere. You can't find it. It's impossible.
It's just gone.
Yeah. Nowadays, if you actually want to just watch, like, okay, so you can watch movies on Netflix, but you're going to be watching Netflix movies. You're not going to be watching movies you want to watch. You're gonna be so if you want to watch movies that you want to watch, like if you find a movie and you're like, oh, where can I watch this? You're going to be paying hundreds of dollars a month.
Yeah.
It's impossible.
HBO is your movie place.
Yeah.
Or your gritty TV. Netflix is your teenage TV show.
Yep.
Let's be honest, if you're paying for Disney Plus right now, it's for Hulu. Because they're bundled together.
Yeah. They're both Disney. Unless you pay for Hulu only, which is fair.
Yeah.
It's understandable.
Because, like, what are you watching on Disney?
I mean, you can watch Disney movies, but if you're watching those, why are you listening to this episode? Because, I mean, no, I'm sorry. Okay, no, if you're watching, if you're a Disney guy, adult, then,
Leave. You are not welcome here.
Yeah, get out of here, you scum.
No, I'm kidding.
Kinda. Go love your corporation some more.
Try something different.
Go to your 20th Disney World visit. Spend $500.
Tangled is a good movie, but
yeah, there
so
are
is
good
Moana.
Disney movies, but if that's all you watch, and if you only watch like Disney originals, then you're kind of limiting yourself a lot. Like, there's so much more you could be doing with your life than watching, I don't know.
But the Marvel TV
Beauty and the
shows.
Beast the 500th time.
It doesn't matter about your Marvel TV shows.
Nobody's ever watched a Marvel TV show and liked it.
Unlike Moon Knight. Unless it's Moon Knight. And I think some people have said good things about Loki.
I think Moonlight was supposedly like good for 3 episodes, and then it was way too long or something like that. I didn't watch it. I've only seen WandaVision, and it dropped off after the first 3 episodes so hard. It was crazy.
Yeah, WandaVision, after they stopped being incredibly creative with their cinematography,
Or at least different.
that's really what they had.
Yeah. They're like, oh, we're going to make a show that looks like old shows, and then we're going to continually go through that, and then
They
at
got to
some point
modern, and it was like, okay.
They could have at least done like, oh, we're going to do a Breaking Bad style thing, and done like, you know.
Yeah, 2000s, great.
Exactly, yeah. But no, they just immediately went to Marvel. They're like, oh, let's replicate the only thing we do anymore. And then it was extremely boring and samey. So
Yeah, like those first 3 episodes were cool, though.
yeah, that it should have stayed like that.
But also, those first 3 episodes were cool in a way that I really didn't care about the plot.
Yeah, they're cool in a way that makes you go, ooh, what are they gonna do with all of this? And then it like doesn't do anything with it, and you're like, okay, what was I even? Did I even like the first 3 episodes now? Because it's
WandaVision was such a vibes TV show.
Yeah. If they just kept going with that, I mean, it probably would have fizzled out because you can't just do that forever. But they would have at least done something, or at least they should have just had a better ending, because the ending's just dumb, boring.
Yeah, I would have kept
Same as
watching if
everything
it
else.
was just like
If it wasn't just
they
another
went
Marvel
slower,
thing.
like 60. Either way, we have a list to get to.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, number 7, Little Otik. I don't know what year it's released. I think it's 2002 or something like that. 2000. This is a. Ooh, I don't actually know.
Sounds Irish.
Czech. Czechoslovakian. Czechian. I don't know what it is anymore. But it's
Czech Republic, I believe.
it's a Jan Svankmajer film.
Svinkmar.
Love that guy. He's a great stop motion animation guy.
So is this a stop motion film?
No, partially.
Oh, rats.
It's live action with stop motion elements.
That's all right, I guess.
It's a great movie.
So
It's-
what drew you to this one?
I love the director. I'd seen Alice, which is a 1988 movie. It's an Alice in Wonderland thing. It's the same thing, live
Is that
action.
the evil one?
Is it the evil one?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
I know there's like an evil Alice in Wonderland stop motion film.
if any would be called evil, this would make sense. It's an extremely odd movie. I
like
mean,
very gritty.
maybe.
No.
It's not like a movie where you go, whoa, that's twisted. It's more like that is extremely odd and frightening.
Okay,
But in
frightening.
like a
Yeah, it's probably the
kid's
same
way.
one,
Okay, yeah. It's he makes incredible stop motion movies and shorts. So highly recommend that guy. But this one in particular is probably my favorite of his. It's about a lady who finds a log in a forest and goes, "Whoa, cool log," and then brings it home, and then it kind of becomes a baby, and she like nurtures it like a baby. And her husband is extremely not happy with this, and she keeps nurturing it, and then it becomes like it grows up as like a child, and becomes this like beast, and it's so good. It's a wild movie though.
And so this one, you said it was 2003,
2000.
2000. Czech Republic, is it in Czech?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of a horror movie, but also a drama.
This one also seems, weirdly enough, this one seems pretty approachable.
Yeah, it's not that unapproachable. I would
Yeah.
agree. I would recommend people watched it. I don't know where you can watch it, but somewhere, probably.
Sure.
Go
check it out.
Yeah,
Read that title
Go
off one more.
check it
Oh
out.
my gosh.
Little Otik. Otik spelled O-T-I-K. It's got some incredible animation, obviously, because it's this guy. He's the best. And it is just so good. It's a kind of a drama horror. What is it like? I should be comparing these to modern movies so people can know what they would like if they've seen those.
Is it like anything that is it kind of like Beetlejuice? Is a
No, it's not animated in that kind of way. It's very real kind of feeling. Like you watch it and you're like, okay, so this is just a part of the environment. This is just happening.
Okay. So is the stop motion like
It's not like cartoony. It's very it feels like it. I feel like they may have actually used wood. Like it's that crazy. Like
yeah.
if they used clay, it's kind of imperceptible.
Okay.
It's very.
So it might be kind of like, what was that one on Shudder that like God,
Oh, Mad God.
Mad God? Is it something like that?
It's. Have you seen that movie?
I have.
Okay, it's not much like that, just because it's got a plot and a story and characters, but it's very. I'm trying to think of anything. It's about motherhood. So
Is it like Mother? Starring,
no, that movie's awful. But yeah, watch this if you like movies about nurturing a child and motherhood, and you want to have a good time.
And feeling a little evil.
A little bit evil, just a tad.
Okay.
If you ever have a friend with just the worst baby you've ever seen, then this is the movie for you. Just the most frightening little guy.
Go check it out.
Yeah. Okay. Next up. Sorry, do you have something to say? What's that? What did you say? What's that? Gonna take that as a no.
Oh, sorry, I was cutting out.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Go ahead. Next
Okay.
on the list.
Deadly Sweet. This is an Italian movie. It's dubbed, of course. 1967. It is fantastic. Part color, part black and white. It's a noir movie.
Because this was in the time where they had to hand paint any colored part.
No, this is past that.
Past that?
Yeah, that was like 30s and 40s. This is 60s.
I thought that went all the way to the 50s at least.
No. Was it 30s? I think it. Well,
I thought it was like a stylistic choice still.
The Wizard of Oz was, I think, 30s or 40s, 38 maybe.
Yeah.
And I don't think that was painted, was it? I don't think it was. Yeah, that was 1939. I think painting it only really lasted until like the 1920s. And usually you weren't painting because that's just such a big, effort. Like you have to do that. It's only for short films mostly. But this one it's a noir movie. It's erotic thriller.
Okay.
This is from a director who did a lot of just erotic movies. But
yeah, don't be scared of that erotic tag when we get into the Italian genre, because you're really not going to find terribly many old Italian films that don't have that tag.
Yeah, Italian movies especially, like,
really horny.
They're extremely. They're a horny bunch. Those
even
Italians.
if it doesn't have that tag, you should still expect
there's going to be at least a couple scenes, and it's probably just going to be throughout the entire movie.
Baseline horniness.
Yeah, so if you're not into that, don't watch Italian movies. You should, but maybe
stay away from.
Yeah, Suspiria, I think you're good watching, but I don't know anything else.
think that Suspiria is still a little horny.
It is. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just less than most of their stuff. I
Start
don't
with
think-
Suspiria. Tell
I'm
us
not
how
sure
you
there's
feel
any
about
actual nudity in that one,
that. No, I don't think there is.
but this one is rated X, so be careful. It's not as bad. It's not that bad. I'm pretty sure.
To our young listeners, do not check this one out.
Unless
Also,
you
don't
really
check out the
want
one
to.
before this.
Yeah, it's I
Fine?
mean, it's good. I mean, it's not like it's super inappropriate.
Okay.
I think it's rated like, I mean, I don't know if it has. It's not rated, but I don't think it released in the U.S.
There we go.
But
Okay,
it's-
either way, we're on to this X-rated Italian film.
Yes.
What is our plot?
Don't know. It's extremely experimental. I'm not actually sure. Basically, this I think a detective or a guy at least. He meets this lady, and then they get on the case. If you like crazy experimental noir movies,
How
this is
many
the movie
people
for you.
die in this movie?
Die?
Yeah,
At least 3.
at least. Okay, yeah.
It's part color, part black and white.
That
It's extremely quick cutting in parts.
that is one thing I've noticed about like old Italian movies from this time period, to my knowledge, is that like sometimes they'll break from a 3-act structure because
Mhm.
they're super experimental, and typically when they do, they will cut the structures with just a character dying. They're like,
I'm not sure that happens.
he
in this,
did.
but yeah, they love just messing around with the form, and this is one of those where they just mess around with the form, but it's a director who almost never does that, and it is really interesting
Yeah.
and extremely cool. It's one of the coolest movies, I think.
And the name one more time?
Deadly Sweet. I'm pretty sure there's an Italian name, but I don't know if you need to know that. I'll give it anyway. Colcore Ingola.
Colengora.
Yes.
I said that like it was Spanish. It's Italian, so
It's the same thing.
basically.
This is another one of those where you need subtitles, but it's worth it, I'd say.
All right. So this one probably second least approachable.
Yeah, I'd say so. And it's going to stay that way. The rest of them are pretty approachable, I'd say.
Yeah. Honestly, like
Yeah,
it's only unapproachable to a point where like if you're just watching an Italian experimental film, that's a lot more approachable than a 5-hour French
yeah.
documentary style, because at a certain point you're just there for the visuals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this has the visuals. It's
Yeah.
beautiful. Anything from Italy from the 60s and 70s and 80s is going to be gorgeous.
Beautiful.
It's going to be the best shot film you've ever seen in your entire life.
For no reason.
It's crazy. It's going to be
Yeah.
like a probably less $500,000 movie, and it's got, just a director who is amazing at his job.
And they're shooting on film.
Yeah.
So these are like one take.
Yeah.
With their budget. Like
Yeah.
they have one chance to get these shots.
But the effects are insane. The visuals are insane. The lights are incredible.
yeah.
Everything looks just amazing.
It's like you can see the effects of Adderall and cocaine.
Yeah, it's just the wildest thing you've ever seen. Going into an Italian movie, you just know you're getting something good at least. It's not gonna be boring.
You're not going to get a whole package.
Most of the time,
You're
there are
almost
some-
never going to get a whole package. But what you will get will be incredibly entertaining if you can appreciate it.
I don't know if I've seen a non-flawed Italian movie, but there aren't that many non-flawed American ones either, especially
Yeah.
from that time period. That's not true, especially like big budget ones or
Yeah.
small budget ones. So they're not in general any worse than American movies. So watch them; they're
Yeah.
good. Okay, next up, this one is not Italian. The Guardian, 1990. It's another American movie. I'm crazy with the American movies.
I can't believe you have this many Americans on your.
This is from the director of The Exorcist, and the writer is the director who made Spider-Man trilogy, Sam Raimi.
Now, this is one of your favorite movies of all time.
This is an incredible movie. We're into these are my favorite movies ever territory.
We're in the territory for Houston where these are no longer just like movies that you should check out because no one's heard of them. And we're in a territory where these are just like movies that Houston will recommend to you.
I probably would recommend the other ones, but
Yeah.
no, I don't know if I'd recommend the other ones to anyone because they're so strange. But These ones are like some of my favorites of all time.
Yeah.
Okay, so The Guardian. This is a William Friedkin movie, who is an incredible director. I'd highly recommend watching everything he's made. But it is about this guy and a lady, who have a son, and then the son freaking goes weird. Not really, but like weird stuff starts happening with this kid, and then they go out to the forest, and there's a tree that is alive, and then a forest nymph comes out of it, and it's got some of the craziest effects you'll ever see.
Okay, so let's break this down into categories
Okay.
and give it like 10 points per category. Acting,
Oh, boy.
cinematography, sound design, and plot, general plot. So 40 total points. What does it get?
Crap. Okay, so acting, I don't pay that much attention to acting in general, but I'm gonna say it doesn't have bad acting, so probably like a 7. What was the other one? Cinematography is gonna be a 10, I'd say.
Sound design.
Sound design, not entirely sure. Probably like an 8 or a 9. It's an incredible movie. What was the other one?
Plot.
Again, don't pay that much attention to that, but it's probably gonna be like an 8 or a 9. The effects though, it's a 10, easy.
Oh, that wasn't part of our grade.
Yeah, well, that's part of it now. It's a horror movie. You gotta include that.
But we don't really care about effects at this podcast.
What are you talking about? Speak for yourself. You're literally an effects guy. What do you mean? what are you trying to tell me here?
Just because I do special effects sometimes.
I guess you like got out of the game. You're just too used to it, you know.
Yeah. And this current project that I'm working on, the EVA film, will not bend in the ways that I want it to. And it has been getting on my nerves.
Hate it when that happens.
Right?
But it's like, yeah. Anyway, it's like a psychological thriller horror movie, and it's amazing. Okay, so the director of this, William Friedkin, I read his memoir. It's like 800 pages long. Doesn't mention it once. He did not enjoy making this movie. And he will tell you he does not like the movie. But he's wrong.
But you like the movie.
It's awesome. It's the best. It's, yeah, anyway, written by the director of Evil Dead. Watch the movie. It's, honestly,
Name one more time.
The Guardian. The Guardian, 1990.
Guardian 1990.
Indeed.
All right, let's keep it rolling.
All right, next up, Riki-Oh, The Story of Ricky. I would not be surprised if you've heard of this one.
Riki-Oh. Tell me a bit more about it.
It is let me look up the country. It is somewhere in Asia. Cantonese movie, or Hong Kong movie. It's in Cantonese. It is an action horror kinda movie. It's another effects movie. This is maybe the effects movie though. It's got some of the most insane gore you'll ever see in your entire life, and that's kind of the entire point of the movie. It's just nonstop people punching through people.
So this is a film for the anime lovers.
Sure.
If you watch, there's a Netflix anime where it's just all about fighting and gore. And if that's you, then check this one out for sure. For sure.
Yeah. It's okay. So the way I can sell this is if you just look up Riki-Oh, Story of Ricky scene, you'll find something interesting about it. Some interesting thing. You'll see the most insane thing you've ever seen, and then you will want to watch it because it is just one of the wildest movies I've ever seen in my entire life. It's like 90 minutes. It is.
Who is the effects artist on this?
I mean, it's a Hong Kong movie, so I have no idea. It's not like a big guy. It's just this bizarre collection of people who just happen to make one of the craziest movies I've ever seen. Effects. No, okay. Designer. Okay. I don't know. Let me see if I can just look up effects designer. But let me run you through a scene in the movie really quick in a moment. Nope, doesn't say on the internet. But basically, there's a scene where it's all set in a prison. Riki-Oh is a guy who gets sent to prison, and it opens with him getting in there. They x-ray him, and they find like 8 bullets just in his stomach, and they're like, oh, oh dear. And then he's like, what's wrong? Or he didn't say that. I think he's an extremely unflawed character. He's just the good guy who has to defeat the bad guys. And then stuff happens. I'm trying to decide which scene to run through right now because there's so many insane ones. Like, it's a non-stop insane movie. I would recommend watching this with like as many people as you can get to watch it because it is just the best time with a group. But basically he gets in this fight with a guy who is bad. He's one of the bad guys.
He's bad. He's
And
a very bad man.
what he does is he breaks off his arms, I think, but basically he gets crucified at some point, and then his wrist gets slit open, and he's like, oh, rats. And he's like, I can't use this hand anymore. But then he grabs the tendon out of the bottom of his arm and the top of his arm and like ties it together with his teeth and then can continue fighting because the tendon's back. I don't know how to describe these scenes. They're insane. It's hard to remember what order things happen in. I'll just list a couple more things. People just like, Ricky O is like the strongest guy in the world. So he just like punches straight through a guy. And he just like has a hole after that. A different guy just takes a like cheese grater and just right up the guy's face, some other guy's face. And he just doesn't have a face anymore, more or less. It's really gory, but it's all in a really fun way. So I would highly recommend watching it if you are in any way into special effects like that.
All right.
It's kind of unbelievable.
How many more do we have on this list?
3.
3. All right. Top 3.
Indeed. Inspector Ike. This is a 2020 movie.
Oh, recent.
Yeah. This is a cop show, comedy.
You love your noirs.
Huh?
You love your cop dramas.
It's not really a noir. It's a cop comedy. It's all styled in the version like Columbo, kind of. Like if you've seen Columbo, it's much like a lot like that, where it's like a 70s cop show procedural type deal. And the main guy is Ike, and he is extremely funny. Like it's made to be the kind of thing you'd call campy or so bad it's good, but it's all intentional, and it's all obviously intentional. And it's made by like this group of New York comedians who are all extremely funny, and it's just one of the funniest comedies I've ever seen in my entire life, basically. It's under an hour and a half. It's basically, okay, I'll run the plot real quick. Guy kills his his boss. He's an actor. And then tries to cover it up. And then Ike gets on the scene. He starts investigating. And basically, he has to figure it out.
So think Deadpool.
Yeah, it's a lot like that. I mean, if you've seen any like 70s cop shows, that's what this is like, but in the funniest way you can imagine.
All right.
They use the idea of a cop show for like everything it's worth, basically.
All right. And if you were to rate their comedy from like non-problematic to extremely problematic.
Oh no, it's like it would be like rated PG probably.
Okay.
It's so non-problematic and so funny and just incredible, and it's on Tubi, the best platform.
There you go. Tubi.
So
not a sponsor.
Watch it now. We should get sponsored by Tubi.
Yeah. Before we get into our top 2, let's talk about this week's sponsor, Aura. Keep your digital security safe online. There's a lot of people out there who are doing bad things. Like
downloading movies.
Like downloading movies.
From evil sites.
And those sites will try to keep your information. So, download Aura today.
Or any other VPN.
Whoa, hey.
No, I need to
use our code.
I need to emphasize this. If you're downloading movies illegally, you need to use a VPN.
You do need to use a VPN.
Just, for a fun fact.
Do it.
Absolutely do it.
It's not.
They repealed an act that makes it so they have to warn you if you're gonna get your internet repealed. So if you are on any ISP, they can just instantly take away your internet access without warning. So use a VPN.
Yep. Aura.
Anyway,
Back to the list.
number 2. I may have told you about this one. Freaked. 1991. Yeah. He knows about this. Everyone I know knows about this. Or 1993, sorry. That's embarrassing. It's one of my favorite movies of all time, probably like top 3. But it's a comedy made by Bill and Ted, kind of. Mostly Bill, I think. Alex Winter.
Bill and Ted, Last Generations, Key and Peele.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Not that far off.
Yeah.
But Alex Winter, he is the main character, and he's like this scumbag actor guy, in like a fun way. He's like a fun scumbag. He's like an 80s, 90s movie scumbag where he's like the comedy guy.
Yeah. Dirtbag.
It's a comedy. It's one of the funniest movies I've ever seen also. But it's also got a lot of effects work, and I like effects, you know me. But it's got Randy Quaid as well, and he is the ringleader at this freak show, this circus of freaks. And but his secret is he makes the freaks with this substance called Zygrot 24. And
think Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Honestly, think that extremely hard. Yes, absolutely think that. But it's got the craziest effects because he makes these guys, and they're all like latex, insane effect men, and women.
Yeah.
Women. But
let's cut that. Editor, can we get a timestamp?
But it's super extremely funny.
If you like rock influence and just shenanigans.
Did I show you this movie?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, you're right. Yeah. Yeah, it's so funny in like an MTV style. It's because Alex Winter before this made an MTV show, which it is a good idea to watch beforehand because you won't get some of the jokes if you don't. Called something Idiot Box. I think it's all on YouTube. You can watch it for free. This as well. You can watch on for free on YouTube. But he made this MTV show, and they were like, you know what? Nice. We'll give you this much money, or Warner Brothers was, I think. And then he made it, and 20th Century Fox, sorry. But he made it, and while he was making it, the CEO was fired and replaced with some other guy. And then the other guy was like, why did we make this? Never release this. And it was released in like 4 theaters or something like that for a week. But
Freaked.
Freaked is a different movie.
Yeah. If you were to rate the soundtrack on how well you would just turn it on for a long drive.
Oh, well, so I bought the soundtrack on vinyl. It's one of like the 5 vinyls I have, but it introduced me to at least one of my new favorite artists. So probably like a 9. There are some songs I don't love, but it's whatever.
9.
Yeah.
All right.
The Butthole Surfers, let's listen to them now. They're very fun and cool and good. But yeah, this is just an incredible movie. It's extremely funny in like a wacko, silly, goofy way.
Here's what I want you to do, audience. Go on Spotify, pull up the soundtrack.
Mm-hmm.
Go to, what was the band you said? What song should they listen to?
Oh, well, their most popular is Pepper, but my favorite is Jingle of a Dog's Collar.
I meant off the soundtrack.
Off the soundtrack. Okay, well, that's not going to be by the Butthole Surfers, actually.
Really?
Okay.
Okay.
Freaked Intro is honestly probably my favorite. Yeah, there's an extended cut, which is amazing.
Go listen to the intro, and then tell me you don't want to watch the movie.
Well, what you could do is you could go on YouTube and watch the first 2 minutes, which are animated in a way that is never done ever, where you make this massive block of clay out of these like twirling other colors of clay, and then you slice it off in pieces, and then the pieces, the way you make the clay, will have pictures and like effect photographs made into the picture. So it's like animated by slicing clay, and it's unreal. It's some of the craziest stuff you can do. and nobody does it because it's so complicated. I think that like only a couple of things have ever done it, and it's all been one guy who's done it because he's like the only guy who can do it well.
He's the guy for it.
He made a medium, and he is the only guy who's been able to do that medium.
Such a flex.
Yeah, like you have to think in just such an insane way to be able to do that.
Yeah.
That he's the only one who can do it.
Okay. Let's get to our number one spot. But before we do, I want to remind you to like, comment, and subscribe to our channel, the No Niche Podcast.
Yes.
You are home for nothing in particular.
No thing in particular.
Yeah. We're all over the place.
We are.
And so can you.
So true. Okay. Number 1, German, 1990. Der Todesking. I may have told you about this one. The Death King in English. It's a horror movie. Again, I really like horror movies. It's like my favorite genre. But by Jörg Buttgereit. He is a wonderful director. He made Necromantic. That's his most popular movie. But this one is extremely brutal. It's extremely depressing. And it's one of the best movies I've ever seen. Probably my second favorite or so.
Yeah. Think about the Norwegian church burnings, the political event were in Norway, alt rock. Do you know about this?
I don't know about this.
Okay, so basically, like Norwegian, like you know how like there's death metal,
Mm-hmm.
and then there are subgenres within death metal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Norwegian subgenre is like airy and like cold. Does that describe this movie?
Sure. Yeah.
Like dark, but like cold.
It's dark in a way that makes you like want to remove your skin, kind of.
Isolating.
Yeah. It's about suicide. It's an anthology.
Yeah.
In 7 days. It's like goes through a week, and each day it doesn't really, the week structure doesn't really matter. It's just 7 different short films, basically. And it goes through, and it's different ways that it can happen, kind of.
Yeah.
It's extremely dark. It is very artistic in nature, but it is just so, it's so impactful, kind of. Like not in a, oh, this changed my life, but in like a, oh my gosh, this is just depressing, but in a good way, you know?
Yeah. If you're a fan of Norwegian death metal, this is for you.
Okay, sure. I'll believe you on that one.
Yeah. And while I'm at it, Houston,
Yeah.
you should go look into Norwegian death metal.
I think I may have listened to some of it. I don't know.
Be careful around certain ones because, like, there's a lot of drama there.
I know about at least one of the bands where, like, the main singer killed himself.
Yeah.
And then they took pictures of that and put it on
They made it
cover.
the album cover. And then the same band later, like, I think, like, the guy that they replaced that guy with kidnapped their, like, bassist or something and tortured and killed him.
Mm. Yeah. Cool. See, if I was in that band, if I was a Norwegian and I was asked by a band to be the lead singer, and I realized that the last lead singer had shot himself and then been taken a picture of and put on an album cover, I may not.
New lead singer is the guy that tortured one of the original band members.
But I feel like I would not join anyway. Like, it seems like just not the kind of vibe you're going for.
No,
I guess if it's that
very
guy,
much
it's very
was
much
the vibe he was going for.
It was exactly. This is the only band he could have joined, really.
Yeah, basically. And then they also, just like over the course of their bandship, started like a little group that went around burning churches.
That same group?
Yeah, basically.
Man, seems like it's just this one group. They're not great.
Well, they like pulled most of the scene into like
okay.
a bigger group.
So this is like the one instance of death or like music actually being an issue for religion.
Yeah, incredibly detrimental to just like the health and safety of.
Yeah.
But either way, the Death King.
Yes.
Who do you think should watch this movie?
Anyone who likes sort of very experimental movies and doesn't mind a massive downer. I've shown it to
massive
many
downer.
people, and they've mostly liked it, but I've been selective on who I show it to. So if you've seen like Seven and want something darker and sadder, that is for you.
Yeah. If you listened, I mean, really listened to the Black Parade, and you're like, this is too happy for me. This is you.
This is your movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't exactly know where you can find this besides Blu-ray, which is what I have, but it's somewhere, so you can find it.
So basically, hit up Houston so that you can borrow his Blu-ray.
I have given people my Blu-ray before. Been like, you can watch this now.
But yeah, that is the top 10 movies you haven't heard of. Please tell us if you've heard of any of these.
Or seen them.
Or seen them. Go watch them
Absolutely.
if you haven't. Come back to this video, watch it again, and tell us if you agree with it.
Yeah, if you've seen it, if you've seen all the movies and you come back and you say Houston's an idiot, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Please let me know.
Yeah,
So I can go, oops, sorry.
yeah. Like personally, number 9 wasn't very good.
Not a fan of that one.
No, wait, that was the French Exposure
yeah.
film.
Yeah.
Big fan of that one.
Okay, what's the not good one?
Number 11, your
Yeah.
honorable mention.
No movies.
Yeah, I didn't really like that.
They're all
one.
bad. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. That's understandable. I don't know. I do realize now that I said my second favorite movie was number 1, so I guess my favorite movie's not good, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, I think that you just wanted to be different, and that's okay.
I don't have a first favorite movie. I'm waiting for the right one.
I'm pretty sure that Freaked is your favorite on this
It
list.
was for quite a while. The Death
I-
King is, I've seen it like 4 times, even though it's so miserable. But I have seen Freaked like 9 times. So it's really,
Yeah.
I mean,
Different moods. The weather guy on top of Houston, and he apologizes. Don't ask him. Just ask me, and he apologizes.
okay.
For the snub.
Yeah,
But
my bad.
tune in eventually
Yeah,
for part 2 of this.
eventually.
Eventually.
Gus's picks.
And that one's going to be crazy because you're all going to be like, is he speaking English? And no, I'll be speaking Latin.
Well, I tried to pick movies that people would like, so.
Gatekeep, Girl Boss, Gaslight. That's what I say whenever I'm trying to introduce people to movies. I say, you're going to love this one, and then I always point them to just like nonsensical. I always use the. I guess we should open this into a conversation about just like what is the least approachable film,
Just in general.
just in general. Like what can make a movie completely unreachable?
Well, there's one that I've seen called, I saw the first like 2 hours of it. First 2 hours, it's a 5-hour movie again. It's called, oh gosh, I can't think of the name of it. It's just a guy's like home videos of his kids, and it's just edited together into this montage essentially. And people love this thing, and I don't get it because I am a rube. But I'm sure it's good, but it's so unapproachable. It's crazy. Like there's no story whatsoever. It's just a bunch of home videos, 5 hours of home videos, and it's long. So that's maybe my pick for most unapproachable.
Yeah, length. Nothing happening. Have you seen the movie that came out recently? That was
Oh, the horror one where it's like a guy walking through a forest the whole
Yeah.
time? No, I have not. I want to though.
You haven't seen that? You're
No.
gonna love it.
Yeah, I know.
Just
It looks great.
what's the name of it? So that we can point them towards it.
Something. Some crazy.
It's basically
name.
like a Friday the 13th knockoff where you follow Jason the whole time.
Mhm.
And when we say you follow Jason the whole time,
You are literally following him like from about 4 feet, maybe more,
Yeah.
behind him.
for the entire length of a movie.
The thing about it is, I've heard that there's like 1 or 2 scenes where you cut to different, like the actual characters, and it's away from Jason, and I feel like that ruins the whole idea of the movie.
There are where he leaves the camera stays, and then you get like a little bit of expose onto like, you know, what, just so that like the audience knows what's happening.
Yeah.
Or like there's this one really cool shot,
I prefer not to know what's happening.
and they were talking about like this one shot. So the coolest thing about the movie is that they shot the entire movie. The director looked at it, said, "Oh, this is garbage," and reshot the whole movie.
I didn't know that.
Like that's the real story behind it, is that he said, "Oh, that's not very good, is it?" and reshot all of it. But there's a shot where
I found it. As I was moving ahead, I saw Brief Glimpses of Beauty. That's the long one. This one's called something else.
I see. There's a shot where basically, because it's a Jason Voorhees-esque character that is immortal, he's walking through the lake, and so he's walking along the bottom of the lake to get to like these victims. And at first, the director wanted the camera to go underwater and follow the character all the way underwater across the bottom of the lake. And then he was like, "No, you know, it'd be cooler is if he like goes underwater, the camera just stays where it was, and it just stays where it was for like 2 minutes until you see like the person get yanked under the water."
Oh, that is cool. I found it. It's In a Violent Nature. Is what
In
it's
a
called.
Violent Nature.
Yeah.
And then there's also the scene where a girl gets hooked, pulled through herself into basically a cinnamon roll and kicked down a hill. And so that was a pretty cool scene too.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah. So go watch it.
Yeah. Is that's your most unapproachable movie? you said?
No,
Or
not at all.
okay.
Not
I
even
was- I was
close.
a little bit surprised.
No. For some reason, people have a really hard time with black and white.
I don't know if I know that one.
No, I mean just like in general.
Oh,
I'm talking about like what makes
sure.
it an unapproachable movie.
Yeah, black and white. For some reason, silent movies are unapproachable for people.
Yeah.
If you're afraid to get into silent movies, watch Buster Keaton movies. They're incredible. I would say Sherlock Jr. is a good starting point. It's 45 minutes long. It's
Yeah.
hilarious.
I remember whenever I watched like The Man in the Moon.
Yeah.
Really, really old movie.
Not a huge fan of that guy's stuff.
Yeah.
I'll
It's
be honest.
weird. It's cool.
He realized, okay, so he is extremely important to the history of movies because he was the one who made it so these things could be done. He's like the inventor of so many effects that were used for like the tens of years,
Yeah.
decades. But his stuff is mostly as a showcase of those effects, which
Yeah.
in general I like, but the effects are, not amazing because they're 1920s, and it's like most of it is just him being like,
His background is a magician.
yeah, he's like a magician turned filmmaker basically,
Yeah.
which
He
is
just
if
filmed his
you-
magic tricks.
Yeah, if you look into any director from like before 1950, that's going to be their backstory. They're like, I was a carpenter and then I became a
A
filmmaker at age 40. And it's like, oh my gosh, what?
But one
didn't
thing
even do
about
that.
him is that the film roles that he was shooting on were so short, and they didn't really care too much about exact placement of like making it start and stop with the actor in the same exact place. So your actors in these movies are teleporting around just a little bit. Like every 2 seconds, every 3 seconds, they're just like a little bit different. Their clothes are a little bit different. And I really think if you showed that to someone without the context of like, this is like a historic film that like basically made what movies are today, I think that they would be like, what the hell am I watching? And
Yeah.
what are we doing?
Whenever that happens in movies I watch from back then, I would just assume that like the frames were so messed up that they just had to like cut them out, because that's the fact with so many of these is like they just are not restored well, or they're
Yeah.
not kept well, so they like degrade,
No.
and then they just didn't.
I
film
mean,
for
they
long.
weren't kept well, but also, like, people would be wearing different hats.
That's fun.
You know, like he's wearing a wizard hat this scene. Next scene, he's wearing like a flat hat.
Well, maybe he got hit with a giant mallet in between takes. You don't know.
So yeah, they just really didn't care.
Which is fair. Continuity is kind of optional.
Yeah, it used to be very optional.
Yeah, it was not even a thing for a while.
And this was the time of no continuity.
Yeah, or French New Wave if you watch any of that. Continuity does not matter.
Yeah. Go watch French New Wave.
I'm not a huge Godard fan.
I think that it's so artistically masturbatorial that I kind of love it.
I think the only one feature I've seen is La Chinoise. Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
But it's so. I know I just recommended a 5-hour political drama from France, but it's so like overtly political, and the characters are just nonstop talking about politics and being like, "Well, I think this thing that exactly the director of this movie thinks," and the other one's like, "I agree with that you just said." Or there's a character who's like, "I think this," and the other character's like, "Well, the director does not agree with that, so this is what you're wrong about." And it's just so obnoxious, but I understand why people like them, and I need to watch more than just that one.
They're fun.
Yeah,
they're fun.
I'm sure the ones that have a story are much better.
No. I think that the ones with a story are pretty universally lauded as like the bad ones.
I mean, doesn't Breathless have like a plot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I mean, La Chinoise does not really. It just kind of is. This is a group of high schoolers or college students who are trying to start a political movement, and then they die. I don't know what happens in that movie. It's boring.
yeah.
But that's just my opinion. You should go make your own opinion. Go watch Godard movies.
The movies that you watch are bad, and go watch our movies.
You're limiting yourself. Cater yourself to my taste specifically.
Yeah. Which we found out is very police.
Only like 2.
3.
3? Which one's the other one?
Yeah, 2 cop comedies and 2 cop dramas.
What's the other cop comedy? I know there's
Cops.
Inspector Ike. Cops. Cop? That's not a comedy. That's a drama. If you're thinking of the Italian one, that one is not really a cop movie. That's more of a investigating movie, which is, I guess, similar, but it's a crime movie, I guess. Not really a cop movie, though. But I am very into horror movies. So, Exposed, Daughter of God. I see what you mean. Okay, sure. I like movies with cops because I like it when people are investigating. I really like procedurals when they're good. I don't like NCIS, but I like these and like 7.
Well, guys, you heard it here first. Houston is the #1 Dexter fan.
All cops are interesting and good people. Dexter, I've seen 1 season of, and it was good.
Cut.
I have not seen the rest. Cut that.
Cut that.
You don't want me to say that? Okay, let me try again. All cops haven't made any mistakes ever. Or intentional things.
Editor. Editor, help.
I'm the editor. You cannot stop me.
Rats.
But
He's got me.
yeah, so
Guys, help.
don't help him. Let him die.
Guys,
Or something.
next week's episode is going to be recorded like this.
Yeah, we're gonna talk like this the whole time. We're
And
gonna
it's
talk
going to
about
be really annoying.
top 10 ASMR videos.
And that's it.
That's it.
Yeah, catch us back here next week at the No Niche Podcast.
No niche. Not a single niche. Many niches.
Goodbye.
See ya.